I'm now going to tell you the tale of the strange happenings on Earl Road in June of this year. Let me begin by saying I was especially tired that night, as I had been working out in the yard all day. I was sleeping soundly when suddenly I was awakened by a loud hum, like a giant swarm of bees filling the room. I leapt from my bed and ran to the window, pulled back the drapes, and saw a breathtaking sight. There, in the night sky, was a brilliant ball of red and gold, just disappearing behind the silhouette of tall pine trees, about 200 yards from the house. Just as suddenly, all was again pitch dark and quiet, and I returned to my bed and was soon fast asleep. It must have been about 7 a.m. when I awoke, remembered the experience of the night, rushed to the window, looked out, and saw them, lying in the yard, about 100 feet from the house, was this cylindrical, can-like object, about 7 feet in diameter, I estimated, and possibly 7 feet in depth. And scurrying around it like tiny bugs were these creatures, spindle, stick-like bodies with large, white glowing heads, looking very much like giant light bulbs on sticks. They evidently spotted me and started coming at me. I grabbed a stick at my side, held it like a sword, and challenged them to come at me. I heard a high whistling sound, and they stopped cold in their tracks. And I saw their leader, an older-looking character, coming out from behind the can-like object, and with his hand to his mouth was seemingly calling them back. In less than a minute, they had scurried back to the can, climbed on top, and disappeared down an open hatch, and pulled the hatch door behind them. I charged after them, climbed on top, pounded on the hatch door, but no response. It was then I noticed this unearthly contraption. It was gray in color, seeming to be of cement. Mounted on the roof, in addition to the hatch, were various antenna-looking objects, a pipe-like opening, looking like a vent pipe or something, and just below the top, in a row encircling the object, were windows approximately 8 or 10 inches in diameter, and having a metallic glow as though covered with tinfoil. The ground at the base was dug up and disturbed, indicating they had probably had a rough landing from on high. The puzzle to be solved was, how can I get them to come out? I had with me the two objects I usually carry when I charge in the battle: a large American flag and a trumpet, both of which I used when I declared victory and sounded the alarm. Or played taps, as the case might be. In this case, I had another plan in mind. I would use the trumpet to play such golden tones that they could not resist opening the hatch and coming out. And of course, it worked perfectly. They were soon streaming out of the hatch and dancing around the field, looking like giant daisies with glowing heads. But I knew instinctively that once they settled down and looked at me, they would again come at me with that vicious look on their blank faces. I heard a commotion beneath me under the hatch. And who should be crawling out but my two neighbor boys, Joe and Eddie. They quickly told me that they had been taken prisoner early that morning when they went to investigate the craft. And they told me that yes, indeed, no matter how innocent they looked, these were mean guys. And we were in great danger if we didn't take care of them. But how? But how? I cried. I think I know, said Eddie. I overheard them talking, and the thing they are afraid of is the thing that will put them out of commission. What? I said to Eddie. They are afraid that someone will unscrew their heads like light bulbs, and the power will go off, and they will be helpless. Like this, he said, taking his head in both hands and pretending to twist it. Let's get him, said Joe. And we walked toward them, whistling, looking around, as though we were just enjoying a stroll in the country, and walking up to each one and quietly and gently unscrewing their heads and letting them slump to the ground. This incidentally explained the headless, stick-like bodies all around us. These poor creatures had evidently, shall I say, screwed up and lost their heads. So, declaring victory, I picked up the flag and the bugle and waved the boys to follow me as we went toward the flying ship, or whatever it was. But before we could reach it, it was up, off and away, and glancing up over the house, we saw a tiny speck disappearing into the distance. And so, on June 31st of every year, we shall celebrate the Battle of Earl Road and our great victory. End of tape, end of story, end of this nonsense for now.